1993 study by the Research and Evaluation Unit of the California Department of Education found that three major components are necessary for an effective AVID program: a supportive administrator, a strong AVID site coordinator, a strong site team. The successful development of the third component is the focus of this video. An interdisciplinary site team composed of campus instructional leaders allows a school to focus in a systemic way on the needs of underachieving students. The AVID Site Team fosters commitment and buy-in among staff and promotes the school's ability to adjust to current demographics by reducing tracking and increasing access to high-level coursework. Faculty involvement is a major determinant of the extent to which the school improves in college preparation of its students. This video is meant to stimulate dialogue among site team members, both new and experienced. It is divided into 6 distinctive sections, each of which deals with the major purpose of an AVID site team. We suggest that you discuss each section after viewing it. Included in your packet are suggested activities that correspond to each section.
I would like to describe for you the original AVID Site Team, which began its work at Clairemont High School in the San Diego Unified School District in 1980. The impetus for that team was the AVID students. Throughout the students' first semester in AVID, they became keenly aware of classroom practices which were enhancing or inhibiting their learning. They asked for a forum in which they could discuss with their teachers their ideas about learning. The ideas ranged from subtle messages from some teachers that the students weren't capable of being in advanced classes, to different classroom texts for perceived good readers or poor readers, to not having enough processing time for ideas before a teacher moved on to the next idea. The issues ran the gamut, and notable was the students' sincerity in wanting to learn. Together, the students and I wrote the first site team flyer to the faculty. We invited them to join us one day after school for coffee and donuts and a discussion with students regarding student learning. We invited the entire faculty. About 20 of them came, including the principal, who said he would come to every such meeting. I laid one ground rule: that the session would not be a gripe group for either students or teachers, but a problem-solving session. The students prepared carefully for that meeting to cover just a few of the main ideas that were representative for the entire AVID group of students. Students were a bit intimidated, but they were bolstered by the idea that there was definite hope that the teachers would be interested in hearing what they had to say and that their classes would become better. They also knew that they could not point fingers at any teachers or deal in personality issues, but that they needed to focus on general teaching practices. They knew that none of the teachers had malicious intent, but that some of the teachers just hadn't realized how some of their practices affected students. That first site team meeting was a high point of my teaching career. Never before had I heard students and teachers engage in honest dialogue regarding efficacious teaching and learning practices. The students felt that they had power over their own learning, and the teachers felt that they were gaining insight into becoming the best teachers they could be. Through listening to the students, we teachers discovered many assumptions and practices, most of which were largely unnoticed before, that kept our students from being successful. At times, we felt that we did need to meet without the students to discuss policy issues, but we looked forward to meeting bi-monthly, usually with the students, to become collegial problem-solving teachers. The sessions became so important to us that as a group, we laid another ground rule, that there would be no interruptions during the time we met. It was sacred time, and even the principal left his walkie-talkie in the office. I must tell you that the things I miss most about being a site teacher are those meetings and the positive creativity of designing classes which truly met the needs of the students. That site team consistently focused on the meaning of teaching and proved to me that teaching can be the most collegial, intellectually stimulating, exciting job in the world. Let me share with you the purposes of that first AVID Site Team and of all 300 plus AVID Site Teams throughout the world today. AVID Site Teams focus on the following 6 purposes. To develop school-wide goals which ensure that all students have equal access to knowledge in mainstream activities of the school. To focus on budgetary decisions which enhance school-wide goals. To be aware of and act on assumptions and practices at the school that enhance or inhibit equal access. To involve students in discussions about effective learning situations. To focus on teaching practices which enhance student access. To focus on changes in school organization which need to result as a consequence of new conceptions regarding teaching and learning.
Well, I'm really pleased to see all of you today. I'm glad you could clear your schedules and get to our meeting. This past summer at the Summer Institute, we discussed ways we could infuse AVID into our overall site goals. And if you remember, our site team plan had 2 areas of concentration. We wanted to work on the site plan and the accreditation report. Brian Kick sits on the faculty advisory committee, which has a direct influence on the site plan. And Deb Allison is on this year's accreditation report steering committee, and both have agreed to help tie our AVID methodologies into our school's overall vision, ensuring that all students will have equal access to knowledge. So Brian, if I could, I'd like to start with you. Would you mind updating the team?
Okay. All of you should have a copy of your 3-year site plan. If you turn to the summary page in your packet, you'll see that Goal 1 says student achievement. Items 3, 4, and 5, and 6 are all directly related to AVID. On page 4, Goal 4, it says offers a wide staff development activities. Items 2 guarantees our continued success and our continued involvement in the AVID Summer Institute.
Brian, does that mean that we'll be funded for the upcoming Summer Institute?
Actually, what it means is that we'll be funded for the next 3 years.
Can we go back to Goal 1? Maybe it's because the coffee hasn't kicked in yet. I understand the goals, but I really don't understand the funding issue.
Sure. If you look at Goal 1, Item 6, that's going to allow us to provide funding for coaching and staff development to all departments in AVID methodologies. The site will be able to provide the funds for the release time.
Are there any other questions? Brian, good job. Thank you so much. Our goals are legitimized when we make AVID part of the school-wide decision-making process. Deb, could you report on the accreditation process?
Sure. As you know, our principal has instructed all departments and the steering committee to highlight programs that are instrumental in providing access to rigorous curriculum. I've included in a packet on rough drafts from the process program committees and the English department. I highlighted the areas that mention AVID for your information, and as you can see, AVID will be one of the major programs at our school that the visiting committee will evaluate.
Deb, our draft isn't completed yet, but the Foreign Language Department plans to highlight AVID, especially the AVID students who are enrolled in our advanced placement offerings thanks to the AVID elective.
Sandra, do you think you could meet with us on August 17th? I think all the departments understand the value of AVID, and I'm hopeful that all departments will include a focus on AVID in their accreditation report. I know the steering committee is very supportive of all programs that provide access for all students.
I sit on the steering committee, and I will be mission in our section.
Let's remember that the accreditation report is also a valuable instrument to voice concerns we might have, including those we've expressed in our AVID site plan.
Joey, what about areas of improvement, such as prerequisites that might hinder the enrollment in some of the academic classes?
Exactly. I think that this group has made significant inroads to enhancing and sanctioning the quality of instruction at our school.
Due to a large number of people who comprise our AVID Site Team and the representation of each department, the Site Team members have an ability to make decisions and recommendations that extend beyond the AVID classroom and students. Members of our team also have a voting interest within their departments and within our shared decision-making body.
Our principal, Mary Castleberry, has just shared with me the AVID budget, and I need to be sure that we understand the processing of the money.
Jerry has shared some information with me, and I've asked him to share that same information with all of you today. You all know that AVID is funded and supported by the district, and we've been very fortunate that our governance team has agreed to fund AVID at the level recommended by the San Diego County Office of Education. The information that he has is very good, and I'm asking that he share that with this group, and also that we share with the entire staff and also with the governance team. He will chart that information for us at this time.
I presented to Mary the information that I received in the training strand at last summer's AVID Institute. These are all approximate figures, but this is the level of funding we would like to recommend. Tutors are funded at a ratio of 7 students to 1 tutor, based on $7 an hour times 3 hours per week. That amounts to $3,024 per class section. The cost to purchase student binders for a class section is approximately $60. It is highly recommended that a telephone be placed in the AVID class to assist in calling on student absences, arranging for speakers and field trips, and communicating with the students' homes. This cost covers a monthly service charge for the year at around $96. The coordinator is released to attend 6 coordinators' workshops during the year. There, the latest information on working with AVID students is given. Enrichment opportunities for students, such as the write-off, summer bridge, teachers sharing things that are working at their sites, articulation between middle and high schools, and so forth, is provided. The substitute release cost is approximately $540 for 6 workshops. $160 is set aside to cover registration cost for the site team member to attend the site team conference. Summer Institute registration is approximately $1,600 and includes the fee for 5 subject area teachers, 1 counselor, and me, the coordinator. The total cost is approximately $5,400, which is less than $1 a day per student, including tutors, materials, and staff development. That is based on 180 school days. Multiply the 180 school days by an AVID class of 30 students, you get $5,455. The cost to add each additional section is about $3,600.
Wow, what a cost-effective program, Jerry. You know, the greatest expenditures are the tutors and the Summer Institute. I attended the Institute last summer, and I learned many new things that I want to try with my students and that I want to share with my colleagues. We also had the tutors simulate a tutorial in our strand, and their questioning skills were just terrific.
Estella, this is impressive data that should be shared with the total staff. But before we share this with everyone, I think we should lobby to get Jerry on the governance team, since there'll be a vacancy created by John, who retired last year.
Good, I was hoping for another assignment.
Well, Jerry, you will be able to share updates on the AVID program and tell everyone exactly how effective AVID is. And I think that the entire staff needs to know that 98% of the students enrolled in AVID go on to, or eligible for college, and 92.3% go on to a college or university.
Why can't we think of other funding sources, and who administers those budgets?
You have a good point, Sandra. I know from looking at student records that many of the AVID students also qualify for Chapter 1 and GATE. But there must be some other funding. Mary, are you familiar with other funding that might be available?
We're very fortunate that we have categorical funds, and we've been able to use these funds to support the AVID program in the past. We all know that AVID is a program that shows results. We've been able to pool our resources from Chapter 1, Chapter 2, and other compensatory education budgets, and we've been able to cover the cost of tutors and staff development.
Since we know the sources of funding, our job is to continue to show school-wide change through student achievement and staff development opportunities. If we do this, I believe we will continue to have the support of the Budget Committee, and our site will be able to show results. Okay. Let's get these dates reserved. Starting in September, and
The site team has been the driving force behind a school-wide effort to train a significant number of staff members in AVID methodologies. 15 teachers and 2 administrators attended last summer's institute. There are plans to send additional staff members over the next 2 years.
one of our regular agenda items for each AVID Site Team meeting is equal access. We look for areas on campus where students are denied access, and we usually problem solve together. An access problem does exist, and I have invited the AVID coordinator from our feeder middle school and Ed Barnes to our site team meeting today to help us come up with some solutions. Annette and I have discussed this issue informally a number of times, and I thought that rather than having me try to explain Annette's and my concerns, it would be beneficial if she were here today to help us address them. Annette, I would like to introduce you to our group and ask everyone in our group if you would please introduce yourselves. Can we start with Beatrice?
My name is Beatrice Palomino, and I'm an AVID tutor.
My name is Stephen Vela, and I'm the English Department Chair.
I'm Brian Kick, and I'm the Science Department Chair.
Sandra Scherf, World Languages.
I'm Estella Robinson, and I'm the Math Department Chair.
I'm Mary Castleberry, the principal.
Hi, Annette. I'm Deborah Allison. I'm the history teacher.
I'm Joyce Suber, AVID counselor. Sometimes I'm called super and sober, which is true, but it's Joyce Suber.
My name is Ian Andrade. I'm an AVID student.
I'm Alejandro Rodriguez, and I'm an AVID student.
I'm Natasha Sullivan. I'm an AVID student.
Thank you for welcoming me to your meeting. I wanted to bring up the issue of the algebra class. Our 8th grade AVID students are enrolled in algebra, and with the help of the tutorial groups, they're doing very well in the class. However, when they get into 9th grade at the high school level, they're re-enrolled in the same algebra class, and they have to take it over again. I was wondering if we could discuss some solutions that would benefit everyone.
Has anyone in the math department examined the middle school curriculum or visited an algebra class at the middle school?
I've studied the curriculum, Steve, and discussed this with Estella, and we are so far unable to resolve the issue of access.
I also spoke with Estella earlier this year, and we went over the course outline for the algebra class and also the textbook. And I also made an offer to get both department heads together to discuss this, and I think Estella was going to go back to the math department and talk about it.
I'm glad you have all brought this matter to our attention today. Perhaps as a team we can propose some solutions to the problem. Estella, has this been a topic of discussion at your department meetings?
No, I'm afraid not, but you've convinced me that this problem needs to be addressed. Should we schedule a meeting for the math department representatives from both our sites?
That would be a great idea. I would like to be involved so that I can help with future scheduling.
You know, something really needs to be done as soon as possible, too. The message that we're sending our students is that all the work that they did last year has no credit at all.
I'm really glad that the two math departments will meet together and discuss this very serious issue. I would be glad to provide release time for our math teachers to go over to the middle school and visit the math classes there. Estella, if you would let me know, and then we can report back at the next site team meeting next month.
Our weekly meetings are not only a time to plan school-wide staff development activities, but to discuss crucial issues that affect all our students.